On the 4th of August 1972, President Idi Amin announced the expulsion of all 50,000 Asians living in Uganda.
Their main interest has been to exploit the economy of Uganda.
Amin ordered all the Asians living in Uganda to leave within 90 days or face imprisonment.
You left your life behind. You left everything behind.
It was just like someone announces that, hey guys, the world is ending now.
Having come from former colonial India, the majority of Ugandan Asians held British passports, so looked to Britain as a place of refuge. Those forced to flee turned out to be the lucky ones because over 300,000 of their fellow Ugandans were murdered during Idi Amin's rule. August 1972, and the Ugandan Resettlement Board was quickly established. As the humanitarian crisis unfolded, 11 resettlement centres were set up across Britain, including one here in Tomvanu on the coast of North Wales. In all, 29 countries took in refugees, but Britain really stepped up to the plate on this one, taking by far the majority. Within days of Amin's announcement, hundreds of Ugandan Asians began arriving on British shores.
We had to act very fast indeed. Entire bureaucracy was geared to receiving refugees at the fastest possible speed. Ultimately, we resettled some 38,000 people.
And when they're actually coming over here, getting off the planes, how were they greeted?
There was tremendous sympathy and support from the British people. And all the voluntary organizations come together to help. That they warmly received them. And it was an unparalleled thing to have happened since the Second World War.
Prior to 1972, Tomvanu had previously been a military camp and so was easily converted into a refugee resettlement centre. Of the 30,000 Ugandan Asians who came to Britain, over 5,000 were housed right here on this site. One of those refugees was Azim Somani, who, aged 17, remembers the trauma of leaving Uganda.
It was a disaster. It's like being in war. They get you out of your car, they would pin you up, they would have the guns on you. It was a killer. It killed your emotions altogether.
And the decision is made to get out. You've been given these sort of 90 days by Idi Amin. So what do? You just sort of scramble your stuff together?
We took 50 pounds. That's what we were allowed in cash, clothing and photographs. That's the best you could do.
So here we are at the gates of the camp in Tomvanu. I mean, how did you get here?
We got here by coach. Must have been about 5-6 hours ride. In we came and we had nowhere to stay.
So what did you do?
There were people who knew us, and these people actually shared their accommodation with us, and I'm so humbled because they gave a room to my parents and the baby.
2 months after arriving at Tomvanu, Azim's family were offered housing in Stockport. Another refugee was Chandrika Joshi, who, aged 14, arrived here with her family.
I remember feeling nervous about even the other Asians, etc., because I just hadn't lived in a place where I didn't know everyone.
You were 14. What did you do for schooling?
Initially, the schooling was organized in the refugee camp itself, and it happened very quickly, and it was a building very much like this one until we were allocated a space in a local school.
So now, all these years later, looking back, what do you make of your time here?
I would like to congratulate the British people and the British government to say they did a fantastic job to actually accommodate so many people in such a welcoming and such a nice way. I think it was fantastic.
4 months after arriving at Tomvanu, Chandrika and her family were housed in South Wales, where she's lived and worked ever since. In 1979, Idi Amin's government was overthrown, and the previously exiled Asians were invited back to Uganda. But by then, many had established new and successful lives in Britain and decided to stay.